Yeah, I've been like all over the place. Why?
Jim was just trying to remote in, and then he's like, I think
Is
you're on
Andy?
it, so I'm getting out.
No, he's gonna be on Zoom.
Oh,
I don't know if he doesn't
Okay.
feel well or if he's on
so
vacation.
you're gonna view the people, right? And I gotta admit, oh, Andy's on too.
Yeah,
Awesome.
you and I did them all, and then it's mute everybody except for Andy.
So you just unmute Andy?
Yeah.
There he is, Andy.
You look better in person.
Sorry about Jane.
Mr. Morgan, what time is it according to that clock?
5:59.
Almost time. I got my phone sitting right here.
20 seconds left.
I'm just gonna stay standing because I know we're about to stand in 5 seconds.
And
Please stand and join us in the pledge, and please remain standing after the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Amen.
For all present, we had the passing of Jane Byrne last night, so I'd like to have a moment of silence, please. Thank you. In accordance with COVID-19, in accordance with the Governor's Emergency Order 112, the Executive Order 2020-04, the Brentwood Board of Selectmen is authorized and will utilize Zoom for the public to access and participate in the meeting. If anyone is experiencing problems, please email kclement@brentwoodnh.gov. Go ahead.
All right, so I'm gonna do the check registries, and I'm just gonna do the first one first, which is Bill Faria for 568.33, Jonathan Frizzell for 170.47, Jonathan Morgan for 170.47, and Christian Patch for 497.8. And then we will pass out, so hand that over to you.
who does it or no?
And then
Oh, okay.
do those, there's the one on the top, can go to either you or John, you guys figure out which one you want.
Thank you.
So just the top page will go to either you or John, whoever wants to flip.
You're used to doing this one. You want to keep it this way? We can always switch if you want.
Tell me when you're ready and I'll
I'm
start.
game for however you guys want to do this.
Sure makes you happy.
Go
Tell
ahead.
me when you're ready.
I'll tell you when to stop.
Okay. Eleanor Cherry is $1,013.58. Andy Intromovich is $728.80. Of course, I guess I should use the sticky.
Okay, stop. Hold on.
Thank you.
All right, now we're good.
Swain Bonite, 623.36. Andrew Bickham, 636.14. Joseph Bird, 923.64. Katie Blazek Ahern, 612.01. Henry Brackett is 487.29. Gloria Bendia Becerra is 367.79. Ken Christensen is 831.15. Karen Clement is $1,098.37. Jeffrey Collins, 654.60. Katie Coppola is 87.73. Keith Culligan is 498.84. Michael Dam, 688.59. T.P. Dennis Walls, 225.33. Robert Gagnon, 684.05. Jason Gagnon is $75.03. Andrew Gray is 478.47. Alexander Hall is 436.39. Mary Lyons Hall is 142.22. Kip Kaiser, 773.01. Joyce Keegles, 529.35. Kevin Nealon is 91718. Heather Lindsay.
Pause. I have 2 for Joyce.
Yeah, she's just showing you the difference between the town hall and the cemetery. The same number.
The total should be on the top page.
Okay. Yep, all right.
Heather Lindsay, 61224. Robert McCon, 30461. Brandon Messina, 60549. Sarah Parker is 43410. Brian Rains, 40537. Wayne Robinson, 94612. Christopher Spitaleri is 68256. Katrina Tennant is 1,164.87. Phyllis Thompson, 413.19. Josh Turner's 303.62. Olivia Walls, 126.18. Daniel Wicks, 1,128.05. Janice Weir, 766.63. Jeremy Worcester, 777.64. Daphne Wass is 710.68. And Jared Wright Ward is 1,167.69.
$26,186.39.
One page. If I'm missing something, there should have been a bigger page. Oh,
You pass your piece on,
yeah,
right?
yeah. Okay. Oh, I gotta add something.
We only have one page on this, so.
Let me help you out at 1 second. We took $2 million and changed banks. And in addition, we paid $179,000 to Swayze and $607,635 to the co-op.
All right, so we have it,
Those are by ACH, so you won't see anything.
Right.
the $2 million, is
No.
that that's not an ACH, right?
The $2 million was a check from citizens to our new account at TD.
Okay, so you don't, we already read
Yep,
that,
yep.
so okay. All right,
And the
Where's the second
register
page?
you just put underneath those last two pages in your hand.
Underneath?
Yeah, so-
Okay,
I'm not gonna check.
and then somebody takes me first.
John's like, wait a minute, I want this.
not happening. I sit here.
Do we get to
it
vote
goes
on
this way.
Usually I, you guys usually.
We'll change sheets next week.
Totally kidding.
A and B lock and security is $15. 8-inch garage is $68. Block 5 technology is $269.50. Boundary.
Is how much?
There should be two checks, and then the total
$269.50.
So 150,
Okay, yeah.
215, 117.
Boundary Medical is $524.54. Kendra Brackett is $15.92. Comcast is $88.40. Computer Projects of Illinois, Inc. is $900. E&J Auto Parts is $85.59. Eversource is $16.21. Hartman Oil and Propane is $1,313.65. Health Trust Bank is $8.25. Liberty International Trucks, $23.88. Ralph Mahoney and Sons, $16.40. NAF Tote, $350. Northeast Electrical Distributors, $88.68. Rockingham Planning Commission is $4,531. Seacoast Mills Building Supplies, $37.78. Southeast Regional Refuse is $4,564.88. Stratum Tire is $19.58. Trustees of the Trust Fund is $3,600. Ultra Automotive Repair is $106. UniFirst Corp is $52.26. Valak is $246.45. Verizon is $111.58. WM Corporation Services $2,842.78. WB Mason is $54.70. When to Work Inc. is $200 even.
Total comes to $20,151.03.
The grand total, because we paid the selectmen this week, is $2,786,635. Thank you, John.
Where'd that number come from?
I read it here.
How much overtime do we have?
Oh wait, do you need all this?
Do you have the overtime for the
It's right here.
Okay. A PD was 7 hours, large event coverage. Nothing for the fire department, half an hour for the yard.
Hi, Bill. Hi, Liz.
Bill, you missed it. We paid the Swayze and the co-op today, and the bill was a little over 200 point.
Let me go ahead.
600. Okay, thank you.
How do you see this work? Yeah.
No.
So,
We still have $2 million.
Thank you, sir.
Well, we're not halfway through, so it's kind of scary, actually.
So this weekend, maybe the next week or two, are gonna be a little squirrely because we're running two banks at once here. We took the 2 million last week and moved it over. We paid the Swayze and co-op bills out of TD. We made a few deposits into TD, but the main column here is mostly citizens. I'll try to keep it straight.
Thank you, sir.
How long is it gonna take for that whole transfer over?
Probably through April.
Okay. So about a
I
month.
haven't yet succeeded in getting information to the state about changing our bank. And so things that come from them will linger a bit. Same with the ambulance folks,
Okay,
but they'll happen.
thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Motion for the minute.
Second.
All in favor of last week's minutes?
Aye, roll call.
Roll call. Bob?
Aye.
Andy?
Jonathan, I.
Ken, aye.
Did we have a non-public last week?
Yes, we
Yeah.
did.
We did.
Make a motion for non-public.
Second.
Roll call.
Bob?
Aye.
Andy?
Abstain.
Jonathan?
Aye.
John?
Aye.
I'm an aye. Motion passes.
Building permits. 340 Route 125, remove and replace shingles and siding with new. Three Ponds LLC, 10 James Circle, add 14 by 12 screened-in porch to new construction. Lisa Boyer, 47 Norfolk Drive, install air source heat pump water tank. Three Ponds LLC, 2 James Circle and 15 James Circle, add plumbing permits for new dwellings. Paul Curie, 19 Lake Road, replace siding, windows and doors. Helen Smith, 321 South Road, is install temporary electrical service. Chris Beebe, 335 South Road, replace water heater. And David Ross, 79 Mohawk Lane, 3/4 bath to basement.
I didn't do it. Everyone dropped everything, going to their phones. That's what you guys are hearing in the background.
Before we start the notes, we will be signing the invoice and the check for the Brentwood newsletter based on the citizen legislators that met March 13th at the town meeting. There are two caveats. The first is we want a disclaimer, which the management has agreed to, and it will be removed from the website for the town of Brentwood. Lois, do you still want to address the board?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
is this something that we're gonna talk about?
Well, we've talked about it for long enough.
Mr. Chairman, there were 80 to 90 people in that Zoom meeting who did not speak. We have since agreed that we were gonna let them speak
We are going to do that.
before we sign any
No,
check.
that was never the deal. The deal was,
Mr. Chairman, I object, and I want this to be very clearly stated that there is absolutely no reason that we should be silencing 90 people in there.
we're not,
I will be so vocal about this, I'm letting you know.
that's
That
fine.
that the people in this town need to be heard.
They will be, I made a commitment.
Absolutely not.
Now, please, let me finish. I made a commitment the night we terminated the Zoom because of the confusion that was going on. I will live up to that commitment. We are going to meet at the BRC, and everybody who wishes to speak will have the appropriate opportunity to speak.
I would also encourage that anybody who's gonna be coming to talk about something that was already ratified in the meeting, which you were there too. I'm
That's
done
not a
talk- I'm
ratification.
not done talking.
That's not a
I'm not
ratification.
done talking, so
John,
I'm gonna still continue to talk.
That's an
I'm
authorization,
not done
not a
talking.
ratification. You're
I'm
using the
still-
wrong word.
No, we ratified that vote at the town meeting on the budget.
We
The budget came
authorized.
before the budget committee, and it came before the select board for last year. It was posted meetings and everything else. You were at the meeting for the town meeting when we had the legislative body voted on it. So therefore, you supported it too, because you voted
Authorization
to
is
approve
not
it.
appropriation, Mr.
It's already
Monteverde.
been appropriated. That was what the money was approved to, appropriate all the money.
I
We
can
did it
show
town
you the
meeting.
RSAs and we can pull those up, because I've demonstrated them
Town meeting was
to.
to appropriate money. We appropriated the money accordingly.
Can we get the RSA?
As far as I'm
You're in
concerned,
control
the
of the
action
meeting.
has been
John's not.
concluded. You may
Mr.
object.
Chairman, it's in RSA. It
You
is
may
state
object,
law.
and you may
It's not my
object-
objection, it's state law.
Okay. As far as I'm concerned, the deal is done.
We have to address it. We have to hear from the people to bring it before, and then we also have to make sure that we're posting.
We
when
are
have a-
allowing racism and bigotry in this town to be vocalized without hearing from the majority of the people. I know that you're feeling pressure from the people in this room,
No,
There
I'm
were-
feeling pressure from you right now, John.
and you're gonna feel a lot more than that, Mr.
And
Chairman.
then
Bring
you'll
it
get the
on.
pressure right back.
Okay,
This is unacceptable.
It's unacceptable that you're having a temper tantrum right now, too.
okay.
I'm having a temper tantrum on behalf
Right.
of
And
more
you're
than half
calling
of
it
the people in this
racism and
town.
everything else, but you're basically accusing somebody of being racist versus somebody that actually put an article in there, and it's up to them to defend their position. It's up to them. It's up to the newsletter.
It is up to
It's
us to
the
speak
newsletter.
out against
We can
racism
say
and bigotry,
Our job is to
period.
manage the town. It's not to manage what social study experience that you would like to have right now in the town. Our town right now is, we are here, you are elected, not as a senator, you aren't in that possession anymore. You're here as a select board member to help manage this town and move it forward and pay our bills and move this forward. It was appropriated and we were given orders.
You
by
have
our
no idea
town
what you're
meeting.
talking about, Bob.
We were told
That's
by
not
our meeting,
appropriation.
and you have no idea what you're talking about.
Can
'cause
we have
you're-
the RSA,
you're
please?
basically
Okay,
We're
we're gonna have a moment of silence while,
His position.
I would like the RSAs to be read.
that's,
Great.
Appropriate means to, so this is RSA 32:3. Appropriate means to set apart from the public revenue of a municipality a certain sum of money for a specified purpose and to authorize the expenditure of that sum for that purpose. Appropriation means an amount of money appropriated for a specified body by the legislative body. Budget means a statement of recommended appropriations and the anticipated revenue submitted to the legislative body by the budget committee, or the governing body if there is no budget committee. So it
I
is
spoke to the
rec-
executive director of New Hampshire Municipal Association. She is an attorney. She is the executive director of the body to which we pay dues for advice.
yeah,
She very, very clearly told me in a couple of things. And Karen already has the RSAs, the numbers, if we'd like to get them.
RSA 32:10, transfer of appropriations. If changes arise during the year following the annual meeting that make it necessary to expend more than the amount appropriated for a specific purpose, the governing body may transfer to that appropriation an unexpended balance remaining in some other appropriation, provided however that the total amount spent shall not exceed the total amount appropriated by the town.
I just, if you're going to force this through, I just want to have a statement on the record.
okay.
Can I make a statement on that?
No, you're not authorized. Please sit down or leave. You have two choices.
I can stand here, I don't have to sit. Then I will stand here, but I do not have to sit.
That's enough from you.
The general wording of a vote adopting a budget or portion of a budget shall not be considered a purpose to which an amount may be transferred. I mean, you have the ability to transfer funds from one line item to the other. That's how we can overspend one line item. It is an appropriation. You appropriated money for a specific purpose, but that doesn't necessarily mean you have to spend it for that purpose.
Got it.
If the line item is 0, then you're not authorized to spend that money at all.
John, is there anything else you want to say for the record?
There is.
Please.
Mr. Chairman, the legacy that you are leaving by being silent on this particular issue is one of complicity and racism and bigotry. I have
May I
a
just say-
tremendous amount of, I'm not done yet.
I object.
This is my statement.
Yeah.
We are being silent, and silence is complicity and racism and bigotry, period.
Okay.
I'm
done. Thank God. Listen, I want you to know that I am not a racist, or am I a bigot?
You are not being an anti-racist right now. You are not opposing racism.
I do. I don't.
Then take an action.
I did. And I did the right action. Now, are you done for the record?
I'm done.
Okay, we're gonna move on. John?
Can I speak real quick? Real quick, just let me speak. Just 1 second. I don't mean to be rude to anybody.
No, this is your meeting, please.
No, I just want to talk about the situation because as the lone brown man on the board, if you will, who has roots tied into racism and who was attacked the night before his wedding, and I have pictures to prove it, because of best friends being of color and because I am of the darker color. I have something to say. I read the article and at first I was upset. I was very upset. I just read it quickly and I thought to myself, how is it that someone who has never dealt with a racist attack feel the need to tell us how it is? But then I read it again. I really broke down every line. I sent you all an email. And I thought to myself, you know, what he's saying, and he fully admitted, and I will read what I wrote to the board, okay, just so everybody can see. This is coming from me, who has dealt with racist attacks throughout my life, okay? It's an indication that he owned his own perspective on the topic. Mr. Gagnon owned his own perspective, okay? The article was respectfully presented with no apparent personal agenda. He was representing his opinions. He was not denying the existence of racism either. Okay? With his conclusion, he stated that racism exists. It turns out what he's unhappy about is that the system, corporations and schools, is leveraging racism in order to advance socialism, using racism as a cudgel to advance a broader agenda. That's what he was doing. He was advancing a broader agenda, okay? You know, we can get into all the personal baggage, like I said, but I don't want to get into that. As a result of the concerns we are hearing from townspeople, we could firmly request, obviously, that the newsletter publish an op-ed in their next publication, which I'm sure Robin has gotten many of. Okay, that's up to Robin. She is the editor. She makes the decisions, okay? I hope that one of our offended townspeople is willing to present an opinion that represents the case differently or respond specifically to Mr. Gagnon's piece, okay? As far as I'm concerned, we need to have these conversations. I would argue that at the town level, this is exactly the place to have it. The feds cannot impose this. The scale of this challenge is just way too large. We need to look around our neighborhoods, realize that we have our place in common, and start from there. We cannot let the media, social or otherwise, have the conversation for us, okay? If the newsletter won't publish an op-ed next publication, then maybe we should take their own rights. But I firmly believe that Robin will have the ability to publish an op-ed. Again, this is a good time for serious discussions among residents. There may be a need for an outside consultant, and we spoke about that. Karen had a great idea for an outside consultant when I had mentioned this. But right now, as a town, this is our point to come together as a town. This is our time to come together. I have dealt with racist attacks my whole entire life, okay? Entire life. I had to walk around with a pipe in my pants because I was afraid of being attacked by people, okay? Friends of mine and I had to deal with this, okay? This, I do not believe in anything Mr. Gagnon said. I disagree with him wholeheartedly. I fully disagree with them. But you know what? This is the reason that we're having these conversations, and we need to be civil with each other and have these civil conversations, okay? Now, I fully agree, and Robin can speak later, but I'm sure she would like to talk, would be more than happy to have an op-ed. But from my own personal experience and my personal opinion is, what he said, I disagree. I think he's just, I don't know him personally. I looked him up. I think he's some 72-year-old man who was just going off on a tangent. To me, that's laughable. I'm not going to agree with it. I'm not going to listen to it, but everybody has the right to their own opinion. Do I think it was right to have it in the Brentwood newsletter, town presented? No, but you know what? It was there. And I fully expect Robin will do the right thing, and I trust Robin. And I commended her last week for standing up, couple weeks ago and speaking to everybody. She was shaking, she was nervous, she was scared, but she stuck to her way. As the only brown man on this board who has dealt with racism left and right his entire life, that's where I stand. I'm sorry.
Jonathan, the problem is, we have had an article in there.
Yeah.
Socialism, shoot your way out. We've had articles that have been, I'm letting you know.
Yeah, that's fine.
It's one after the other, pattern versus event. We are seeing a pattern, not an event.
Okay, was there, now may I ask Robin if there was an op-ed in terms of the socialism?
Robin, are you willing?
If you're willing to, if you don't feel like commenting, you don't have to. I don't want you to feel pressured. Was there an op-ed in terms of the socialism article that was in the Brentwood newsletter? Did anybody an op-ed to that?
No one responded.
So there was no op-eds to that? Okay.
My daughter has written a letter that we were going to be reading at public comment, which was supposed to be in another 2 weeks on this.
The date has not
But-
been established, but it will be
Exactly.
established.
I'm sorry, but you said that the public comment would be able to talk about this before money was being
No,
suggested.
that was never a commitment. My commitment was that we would have a second meeting, so all of those individuals that did not have the opportunity to speak would have the opportunity to speak. I believe that I have done the correct thing by authorizing the payment and asking for the 2 caveats. Other than that, I believe there's nothing more to
Legally, I
say.
don't think you have.
Okay, that's your opinion? Okay,
I would like to have them removed from the website, so
well, that's gonna
I
happen.
think that was.
Okay, now may I ask, what did the BNL agree to for this? What are the changes that are gonna be made?
The caveat disassociating themselves from that of the town.
Okay,
All right? The seal is an issue that is not trademarked, so anybody has the right to use it,
okay,
all right? The other caveat is to eliminate them from the website,
okay.
our website.
But why?
And-
Why would we, where's the logic?
Well, the logic, yeah, John, is to remove them from the website that is an official website of the...
Oh, okay, racism and bigotry is okay if it's not on the website.
Oh, my God. John, I'm not a racist, please.
Ken, it's not, I'm not calling you a
You
racist.
certainly are.
I absolutely am not.
So-
These blanketed statements.
This is
You
our
can't.
meeting.
No, but we're the taxpayers.
You're the chair.
And
I mean,
you're accusing us of racism.
It doesn't matter if it's
Mr.
Kim or
Johnson,
Jim.
please.
So,
We're trying to control the meeting. There might be a little heat going on here, but we will not tolerate it from the audience. I want your cooperation, please.
I just want to remind everybody, this is the meeting in the public, but it's not a public meeting.
Yeah.
So when you come in, you still have to respect the fact that we are still having a meeting. It is in the public, but it does not mean it's a public meeting.
Yeah, this is a process
Yeah.
that plays out here
Yes.
and
Yeah.
not this way.
So, okay, I do have a question, John. With what I said, would that be considered anti, what you said?
If we do not, if we allow this pattern of activity to continue without taking a position and without hearing from more than 90 people who were there first, we are being complicit in allowing this pattern to continue.
And I think we
Now,
need-
I'm not done yet. I was not privy to these discussions. I was not invited to participate in them.
There wasn't any. It was a decision that was made because of the legislative citizens that
Who
came-
made the decision?
I made the decision.
You're just telling them what to do? I thought we couldn't tell them what to do. You see, Ken, I'm not trying to give you a hard time.
No,
I'm
you
trying,
are, John. Come on.
I'm trying to follow logic here. There are people, there are people in this town who are beyond livid.
That's their problem at this point.
No, it's our
I
problem.
get livid over the school too, John, but I don't get to have too much of an input. Once they approve the budget, it moves forward and goes from there.
That's authorization, Dog. Like, we
That's
just
right.
read the,
And-
we
and
just
they
read the article.
authorize- they
You,
authorize
we
the money.
appropriate, they authorize. It's very different.
And we went through that whole
I'm
process.
just
I
saying,
think
Ken, I wish we would have had this conversation. Like, I
That I
feel like
agree
this is being jammed in without, and I am not comfortable with that. I will not sign any
Right.
check, and I'm going to be vocal in my opposition.
That's fine.
I think what happens is, you know, we need to have this conversation, and I agree with having a meeting at the BRC and hearing people's voice. And then we can share that with the Brentwood newsletter. And I think next year, when they come before us and they ask us for funds, that's the time we need to look at it. The other thing is there's 1,884 homes, I believe, in the town. There's 1,600 people that are subscribed to it. It works out to like 40 some odd cents per thing that they send out.
It's not
So
the
to
money,
me,
it's not the
great.
money, and I want a newsletter. Like, this is part of why we needed to have another follow-on conversation and why it needs to not be jammed through. That's all I'm saying.
They have 30 volunteers. I would implore people that are writing or people that are passionate, like Kim or Jim, to step up and go see how they get part of that
Bob, let me
organization.
share something with you. 2 weeks ago when we heard, I don't know, do we call it testimony or I don't know, we heard a statement. We heard that there was only, in the history, since the last editor left and the new one took
Linda
over,
Russo, yeah.
Linda, we heard that there was only been one letter that has been rejected. Well, I asked around. I had more than 5 copies that I got to see of letters who've been submitted or rejected. This is problematic.
Problem is we don't manage them. So I encourage, if you're that passionate about it, go to the Brentwood newsletter and become part of their solution. Instead of punting it over to here, our job is to manage the town. It's not to manage the Brentwood newsletter, which is a separate entity. I don't go to Richie McFarland and say, hey, I'd like for you to do X, Y, and Z. I don't go to the Red Cross and say,
Bob,
I
to
don't
be
go to the school. and tell
equating
them
these
what to do.
things is, you know it and I know it, it is a false equivalence. It is not even on the same parallel.
Okay.
Can I offer a compromise here?
Sure.
So you have appropriated the budget appropriates 10,200 annually for the newsletter. They put out 12 issues a year, is that correct, 12 issues a year? So if you divide that, you're looking at $850 per month, or per issue, right? They would have put out 3 issues on average, right? In January, they put 2 out in February, the March issue. So expend the amount of funds for money they've already expended this year, and hold the money aside until after you've had your second meeting and you can decide if you want to appropriate.
I strongly feel that we went through the process. It was already gone through the town meeting to be appropriated in order for them to get their funds. That we need to go forward as we've committed and then address this in the fall when their budget season comes up, whether or not we want to continue or they should go to a subscription where they're charging people to get the newsletter. And I encourage people, if they don't want to get it, to send a letter to Robin or whatever, however they get onto the list. I know my wife's on the list. I don't even get it. She gets it. So I encourage people to do that, but I think, we don't call up Richie McFarland and say, hey, we're gonna divide it by 12 and only give you incrementally portions of it. We've already received the invoice from them for $10,200. We have a duty to pay an invoice. We got the invoice almost a month ago. We should be paying it.
The regional associations go through an application process. We appropriate 17.5, and the subcommittee decides how much money they get. So if they can't fulfill, after looking at all of the applications, if they can't fulfill every single person's request, they divide the money up in the best interest of the town and to divide that taxpayers up.
They made a recommendation on the regional associations of how much money was gonna be appropriated to each organization that applied, and that was already spelled out and disclosed to us of how that $17,500 was gonna be spent. That's how they came up with the recommendations that they did. So if they come to us and they say they were gonna give Richie McFarland $1,000, we're gonna give Richie McFarland $1,000. I don't say to Richie McFarland, sorry, you need to prove to me you spent the money. They send us a request for that $1,000 and we give them the money.
They do have to prove that we're getting a benefit from the tax dollars.
Right.
So they have
Which
to
is
say
what
we've
they went
serviced
through
this.
they went through that vetting process. The newsletter doesn't go through that. They say, we're gonna have this much expenses, this is what we're doing.
I think that, I do agree with John that to hold off until after we speak to the people, that's my opinion. And I think that we could work together as a town to come up with, as I said, via email to everybody, that we come up with a third way. It doesn't have to be, it's this or nothing, or that or nothing, or even a negotiation to meet in the middle. We're not gonna please everybody, but the fact is, we can come up with a way to have this work. And like I said, the third way, if you will, if you want to reread the articles that I sent. But I agree with John, but I also agree with what everybody's saying. I personally would like to wait until we hear from the town a little bit more. I know we've seen the emails and everything like that, but that's where I stand, just because I want to hear what more people have to say, and I want to be able to look people in the eyes, whether it be from up on a chair or whatever, but it's our job to listen to the people too, so that's how I stand here.
We have received many emails,
And we got a lot more.
and we got a lot more today.
Because I'm looking and going, oh my God, I got more.
But the vast majority disagree with the article, as I do, but they want it to be funded. So if you strip the article from the issue, they want the newsletter. And I believe that Robin and anybody else who attempts to produce a newspaper of any type will take all of that into consideration in the future. I was not offended, I never even read the article until maybe a week and a half ago after our first meeting, because it did not interest me as an individual, and I'm still not interested in it. The gentleman has his own opinion. Too bad he had to put it in the Brentwood newsletter. Okay?
This guy has way too much time on his hands, is what I thought when I read it.
Well, he's an old man, yeah.
I don't,
Sorry.
I don't disagree with anything that you just said.
Good.
I truly don't.
Okay.
The problem is, this is a pattern versus event. It's a pattern. It really is a pattern, Ken. It's not, we've had this discussion
2 years ago, we had a problem.
and things have continued. Look at the article look at the editorial from September. Look at ones previous to that. Like, socialism, you can vote your way in, you have to shoot your way out. And then this one is equating socialism to, I don't even know what. Black Lives Matter, I think he said, something about Soros, some conspiracy theory thing. But this is going out under our town banner. This is embarrassing. Now, I had a conversation with, this is sad, but, I have little kids now, right? So Thomas, my third grader, he's in third grade now. He picks this newsletter up. Dad, what's this? That's a really hard,
Silence, please.
that's a really hard conversation that I want to choose and Katie wants to choose how we're going to approach those discussions with Thomas.
Well, you
and with
certainly have
William
that
and with-
right as an individual.
And I'll take that further. You say that, but I had someone actually tell my son, how does it feel that your dad be an effing N-word? It wasn't a conversation that I wanted to have with my son, but I had to have it with him. It sucked. It sucked for my wife and I to have to sit down with him and explain to him the idiocy of people. And this came from a child his own age that said that. It was crushing. It was crushing. It was crushing for my wife and I, but that's what we had to deal with. And it's a conversation I look back now and I think, God, I'm glad I had it with my son, because guess what? He was crying his eyes out. He felt so bad. But you know what though? He's stronger from it, because we had to have, we spoke to him from that conversation my wife and I had is between my wife and I.
But
So
you chose, right? You chose when to do it. And you
I chose when to do it because we had to do it. We were forced into having that conversation. Did I want to do it? No.
But I don't want my kid picking up a Brentwood newsletter, or even worse.
I don't want
some
my
of the
kid
other
being
things
told by someone that he respects that. But this is, I can't grab that kid that said that to my son and grab him. Granted, I wanted to take him and I wanted to, I just wanted to shake him and be like, what is wrong with you? But guess what? He had the right to say it. Was it stupid? Does my son hang out with the kid anymore? Absolutely not. But it's what happened. Do I want to have the conversation? No. But these are the conversations sometimes we need to have. We need to have.
Jonathan, it's not, I'm not saying I don't need to have it.
Yeah, no, I know.
I've lived in Africa, man.
Oh, I know. John, I have the utmost respect for you. You know
I'm
that.
just-
You're a friend.
I'm just,
I don't ever think of you of anything besides.
but it's my job and it's
Yeah.
Katie's job. It's not Robin's
I know.
job. Like, it's my job. I want that responsibility. You know what I'm saying? And so, that's under our town of Brentwood.
I get that. I
Okay.
know.
And it's not just the town of Brentwood. We know this now. It's in the Concord Monitor, it's in the Union Leader, it's in Seacoast, and not just me.
Okay,
All right. I'm sorry. I'm going off town.
John, would you allow us to move on, please?
Oh, we were just having, yes.
Yeah, okay.
Sorry.
Lois, what is your feeling now that you've heard?
It's settled.
You-
You're going to issue the check.
That's correct.
Then I don't need to speak.
Okay.
So she's not on the agenda.
Ms. Leo, please.
Okay, couple little things. This one, it being listed as an editorial, means it's supported by the town because it's a town-sponsored item. It should have not been an editorial, it should have been an opinion or a letter to the editor. Second, I'm sorry your child has had to feel the same stigma I have. My children have mixed backgrounds, and I'm sorry they've gone through it too. It sucks, especially with the coronavirus. My daughter has been laughed at and made fun of because she does have Chinese heritage. This isn't how we're supposed to be. I don't have a problem with the newsletter. I have a problem with the newsletter endorsing an editorial that should be an opinion piece or a letter to the editor. I have a problem with you not allowing us to talk about it, and I did try and bring it up at the town meeting, but I was told I had missed the point to bring up the funding of the Brentwood newsletter at the town meeting, and I didn't know that. So I was there at the town meeting when we were voting for things, and I'm still learning the process of this, and so are many others in town. So to say that everyone approved it is not the case.
The legislative body that was at the town meeting, it was approved.
I know, but I tried to bring up the Brentwood newsletter, which I thought was going to, I didn't understand that it would have had to been at the first piece. I thought it would have had to be brought up at the end as a public comment to take that portion of funding away.
I'm even for, if they wanna make it going next year, pull it out of the operating budget aspect of it that's buried into all these other account lines and make it its own warrant. I'm for that.
Can I make a motion for
Okay.
12 months, please?
1 minute. Are you done, Ms. Leo?
I still feel that we should listen to the rest of the people before you approve the funding.
I made a commitment 2 weeks ago that we would have a second meeting. I did not,
That commitment should honor the fact that you need to hear from the rest of the town before you get.
okay, you interrupted me for the last time. I made the commitment. I told you that we would have a second meeting, and we will have it, and it will be established this evening, and it will be at the BRC. Okay, Bill, you had your hand up?
Yep, I find it curious
Feel free to
that
tell us.
everybody, both sides, if you will, agree that we need to have conversation. But I also find it curious that the easiest way to cut off conversation is to call someone a racist, or to say that the town is racist. I'm sure there are people that live in town that are racist. I'm sure they are. I don't live here because I live in a racist town. I never considered Brentwood to be a racist town. I don't think it's a racist town now. There's probably individuals in town that you could point to and say, hey, racist or not. But the easiest way to cut off conversation, which we all agree we need to have, is to call people racist. I think you need to be careful when you throw those terms around. I don't think people in town are racist. I don't think the town is racist. I've never seen that before. And to have that opinion explained to everyone, or exposed to everyone, or to throw that term around because if somebody put an article in the paper which may or may not be racist, I'm not even sure it is. But I think if we all agree that we need to have a conversation, you don't come out by saying, oh, racist. Racism is rampant in the town. I don't think it is. That's just what I think.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion.
I'm sorry?
I'd like to make a motion that we delay payment until after the meeting.
I will second.
We have a motion and a second. Andy, did you hear that?
I did.
Okay, any discussion? Bob?
I think we should honor our commitment and pay the bill and address this going forward to next year's budgeting for the Brentwood newsletter.
That sounds like another
I think
motion.
right now so I would modify the motion to basically, let's honor our commitment that we had a legislative body get together, ratify everything that was done for work by the board, by the budget committee, and everyone else that reviewed everything. We went to the town meeting on the 13th, and everybody that showed up on the 13th and then voted to support the operating budget as was proposed, that we need to move forward that way.
Okay.
I think my motion deserves a vote.
No,
Well, I'm making a modification to his vote.
he doesn't want to.
Well, I just need
Okay.
a second to modify.
Okay. Any other further discussion?
I don't have any at the moment.
John?
What,
John, would you take a modification to the motion that pick four for four issues as Karen had presented earlier?
I'm sorry, I couldn't, did I what? That we pay for,
Four issues that we
Already here.
already had.
If you wanna make, I don't wanna pay, Andy, I'm not going to be, as aggressively in opposition. I understand where you're coming from, but I wanna hear from the people, which is a commitment that I feel as though we made. So I'm not going to fight you on that, but I'm not gonna vote for it.
Okay. All right. Any other further?
I just think we should pay for services rendered. So without the motion, I would give no vote, but with the motion, I would give you a yea vote.
Okay.
Okay, well then let's do that.
Be more specific.
Andy, can you, your modification exactly, just so we get it exact?
What Karen read earlier, so Karen, if you have those figures, that would be great.
So we'll pay for,
4 issues. The April issue is due to be distributed tomorrow or the next day.
So you would release 3,400 of the 10,200 that was appropriated. So 850 times 4.
That would be five, though. Sorry, that would be
Doing
five,
5 issues?
5 issues, okay.
we'll pay for 4. Andy, are we good with that?
Well, no.
Okay. Excuse me, this is not the meeting for you.
John, please allow me to do my job, please. Okay. I've asked you several times not to speak.
We have a mask mandate too.
I'm sorry?
We have a mask mandate in order by the
Where's your
governor.
mask?
No, Governor Executive Order 74B, I am exempt.
Okay, thank you. All right, if you speak out of turn again, I will ask the chief and the officer to remove you. Please. Okay.
No, go ahead, you were going to, after you said 4, you were.
You have to amend your motion because we now know that there's 5 that will,
I
there
will,
was 2 in February.
I'll support a motion for 4. I'm not gonna go halfway there.
But we've already issued 4 and there's a 5th one coming out in a day or 2.
Andy, will you do 4 or do you have to have it at 5?
I'll do 4.
Great, me too.
Okay, so we know what the motion is. We want to pay for 4 issues that have already been issued. Any other further question before we go to a vote? Hearing none, roll call vote. Robert?
no,
Andy?
Aye.
Jonathan?
Aye.
John?
Aye.
I'm a no. The motion passes 3-2. Okay, we're now done with that. We will now go on to the normal business of our meeting. And the next item on the notes is the 335 address of 125 has timely filed an application for site plan for the planning board. Are you aware of that, Bruce?
I'm aware that a partial application has come in.
Okay. Are you satisfied with the action at this point?
Well, the board will vote on whether or not that application is complete on Thursday night.
Okay, so we will discuss this again next week.
so we're still not finding that,
No.
or are we finding that?
We are not.
No, because they made a deposit with the planning board to cover engineering fees in their application, the abutters notices.
Oh, so it's not-
They've made some stuff.
Is that good, Bruce?
They're asking for a waiver on engineering fees, which will probably be an integral part of the application approval process, so we're not there yet. But I think that they covered the basic requirement that you made, that they submit something, and the board will take that up at our next meeting, and we'll determine if it's sufficient or not.
Okay. Mr. Whipple's application for abatement?
So we still had no response from A.M. Whipple Construction, so this is a letter to him saying that we are annulling his notice of award and that we will be, looking for his bid bond deposit.
I make a motion, that's for the bridge.
That's for the Mill Road Bridge, so that'll go back out to bid on April 1, and then we'll be looking to accept bids by your May 4th meeting. Construction in July.
They're making there's a bond that he had, so because he didn't respond to his bid, he had like insurance on it, so they're gonna make a claim against his bond to get that money back. Cause now it's gonna cost us more money to redo it out to bid again, so.
You made the motion, seconded by John. Any further discussion? Andy?
I'm good.
Okay.
Roll call?
Roll call vote. Robert?
Aye.
Andy?
Aye.
Jonathan?
Aye.
John?
Aye.
I'm an aye. Motion passes.
Thank you, sir.
The next item is the Board of Selectmen handbook.
Have you two read the handbook that was posted on the drive?
Not yet,
Okay.
no.
So the only change on this version compared to the one on the drive is I changed the representatives for the board. So I removed ZBA and I added library, because that's what you're actually doing.
Okay.
But I don't know if you want to table this until they've had an opportunity to read it.
Yeah, I just wanna print it out, I don't
Can we, you wanna, I'll make copies of it tonight,
Oh, that'd be, thank you.
and then we'll have a copy tonight.
That'd be awesome.
Do you want a hard copy, John? Cause I know you're a visual guy.
Uh,
Would you rather have a hard copy or?
probably a hard copy will make me do it, so.
Thank you.
Okay.
I'll make that.
Appointment slips for the ZBA.
I have an appointment slip for Ken Christensen, Doug Cowie, and Steve Hamilton as board members of the ZBA, terms expiring March of 2024.
And is there any conflicts? Did we sort that whole thing?
No, it's all sorted out.
Not because John Morgan is on the planning board right now instead of Ken.
Okay,
Okay.
motion.
Second.
Andy?
Roll call.
Yeah.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. We have a roll call vote. Robert? Andy,
Aye.
we appreciate your aye. Jonathan?
Aye.
John?
Aye.
Okay, I have to abstain.
From yours.
Yes. We're gonna take a few minute break while Robert makes copies. If there's anyone in the audience who would like to continue speaking about any subject other than the Brentwood newsletter, Mrs. Ferrier?
Yes, thank you, Ken. I didn't quite understand what you just said about the Mill Road Bridge. It has to go out to bid again,
Yes,
and that was because,
the original person who made a bid,
you approved of it.
we approved the bid, and then for whatever reason, he withdrew. There's all kinds of things going on in his business, and he wasn't ready to take it on.
Oh, okay.
Right.
So, and that was quite a good bid. as I
Yeah, so we have to go
recall,
up. We're hoping to because of the pandemic, the price will probably increase, hopefully not dramatically, but we have sufficient money in the bridge fund to cover whatever we have to have.
Okay.
And currently, we received the letter from the Department of Transportation, I hope you saw it, regarding the red listing of.
I did see that one,
Okay.
yeah.
So, it's in sad shape. If we have to close it without a contractor, we're gonna put potted plants at both ends of the bridge with picnic tables.
Nice touch.
Yeah. Anyone else have any other thing? Trudy, go ahead.
Becky Dunham, Blind Rock Drive.
Trudy Dunham here from 9 Block Drive. I know you said you didn't want another comment on the.
Oh, wait a minute now.
No,
If I said it, don't do it.
well, you asked me, you offered me a job to write up the history of the newsletter. I just want to present some of the topics that were contentious topics that were discussed in the newsletter over the last 45 years.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
I had written it
Did I
out.
formally ask you?
You did at that meeting, you said you have a job.
I said, it sounds like you have a job.
It sounds like you have a
It
job.
sounds-
Are you not comfortable just reviewing what other?
We
issues
want
have been
to see
tackled?
what you have done. Thank you very much.
I will hand it out.
And I will call you Rebecca,
Thank you.
because that's her name.
Having gone through the archive that's on the website of all the issues that have been dealt with in this town in the newsletter, contentious issues, issues that not only related to things going on in Brentwood, but things that were of national concern that had nothing to do with what happens in Brentwood.
Becky, would you give another one to Karen?
More, if you have two more.
Andy?
There were letters submitted, opinions submitted that were solicited by Linda Rousseau. There were arguments, there were very hot issues in town over 40 years. And I have gone through the archive. It is not that opinions and editorials are new to the newsletter. This has been the history of the newsletter. People were not happy. There were arguments, there were difficult times, but we got through it, and I like what Jonathan said. But I don't think we hold a group hostage because they're unhappy people.
Thank you. Any other comments about any topic other than the newsletter? Oh, that's very gracious, thank you. Do we have anything else?
Non-public.
Will I have
Public.
this sitting order for Bob?
Well, no, I'm asking you.
Yes, I
we-
have more conversation with
Okay.
my secretary, yes.
We had to discuss the whole, we aren't even gonna discuss the Exeter High School thing?
No, because of the cost, I feel that it would be more appropriate to do it at the Brentwood Rec Center. We do have to determine the date that we're going to do it. And we will start,
Is this, I mean, I understand that you feel that way, but that might not be how the rest of the board feels.
well, okay, I mean, you certainly have the right to say whatever you like.
Right now?
I gotta go to the bathroom, what are you gonna do? Hold it. What about you, John?
Well, this is fun.
So this new board is like a lot,
You want it to be boring, Karen?
no, it's not boring at all.
Oh, okay.
Do you have a title for it?
No, it's, I was hoping for more consensus than we had in the past.
We've, haven't achieved that.
We'll get there.
Thank you.
Hey, Ken,
Yes, sir.
since Andy keeps track of the number of people that are coming in on Zoom,
Yeah.
is there some way to get Andy to give us a count of how many people actually were on that call? I hear the number 90 passed
It was
around.
80,
I heard
it was 88.
I heard 52, I heard 63, I heard a lot of different numbers. Can Andy actually give us a number of what actually was on that call?
Andy?
Did he get a chance to speak?
Bill Ferrier is asking, can you provide the number of people that were on the Zoom 2 weeks ago? He's
I
looking,
don't think so.
I'm sorry?
I don't think so. I
Okay.
think once the meeting's over, I don't think there's a way to obtain that number.
Okay. Now, I did hear 83. I was told that by 2 people.
Well, it was me and Andy sitting next to each other, if you recall. It bounced all around. The highest number that I saw was 88.
But there's no guarantee that all those people were on one side or the other.
That's,
No,
that's absolutely correct.
That was just, yes, sir.
We don't know that you won't get multiple people from the same household, so you
Okay.
need to look at the IP addresses and things like that. If there's no record, then there's no record.
The Zoom, the number just said 88. I was just telling Bill what the number was, that's all.
Mr. Johnson?
But if the system was crashing, you might have had other calls that didn't even get through
Right.
because of that.
We had a serious issue.
I understand.
The people on Zoom did seem not to have a problem, but we had a problem in the room. The speaker kept going up and down, we could hear, then we couldn't hear, and there was a lot of noise. People asking, what is she saying, what is he saying? Because it just wasn't audible enough to everybody that was present. Ms. Leo?
If you're looking for the total numbers, you also have to account for those who are watching on YouTube Live. And as this gentleman said, the different IP addresses, they all may be different voters in that one household. So there could be multiple.
Thank you so much.
If you're looking for the full number, you have to include Zoom.
All right, appreciate it, Bob.
Well,
And
Hello?
over.
It was a great time,
all right, ready? Okay,
It was enjoyable. Nice break.
we're back on the record. This would be the time that we decide for the second meeting to discuss the Brentwood newsletter for the public to say whatever they wish.
I would make the motion, what was it, the April 4th? Is that what they were doing?
Uh,
6th or 20th.
I think the
is what was
20th is probably better.
4:20?
Yeah.
Is that a consensus, John?
I can make it that day, yes.
Easter Sunday.
Oh, right, sorry. That's right, it's the 6th or the 20th.
Andy?
Andy, what's your preference?
I would prefer the 20th.
Yeah, I can do the 20th.
Okay, that's the board's consensus. We will meet,
Can we, I know that you had talked about the high school, and I want to make sure that we're at least talking about it rather than,
It all depends on how many people can we fit into the BRC.
with current status.
Yeah, I mean,
I think we can still do Zoom and we can do,
how's the Wi-Fi with Zoom at
they have
BRC?
Wi-Fi?
they have Wi-Fi.
They have Wi-Fi,
They have
stronger
Wi-Fi,
than
yeah.
it is here?
Yeah.
Well,
much
it
will
wasn't,
the
it wasn't working, it was his hotspot
Oh.
last time.
Yeah, last
And-
time was me.
Well, I'm not placing blame tonight.
I'll bring my hotspot.
No, it wasn't.
What'll be
No
the,
No blame.
what is the cost of the BRC first? Is it free or is it?
It's free.
It's free.
Versus $715 for the high school.
I'm gonna have to say then, let's go BRC only because $715, right now, we're already discussing taxpayer money.
Right.
If we can. rely
John,
on
would you
Zoom.
like to bring it to a vote? Would you like to make a motion?
Sure, that's fine.
Okay.
If
20th?
John's okay.
No, no,
Yeah,
well, no, for the high school versus BRC on the 20th. Go.
BRC, I'm fine with it. I know he had brought up the high school, so I
Yeah.
wanted to make sure it was top.
Okay,
it was
so it is a total consensus that we will meet
20th on the,
Yes, sir.
at the
Okay.
BRC.
6 o'clock.
Yeah.
6 o'clock.
Okay.
We will do our normal business, should take 15 minutes, and then we will go into it, and we will stay there as long as we have to. Okay. Is there any comments from the public?
Time limits?
We will ask for 3 minutes or less.
How many?
3 minutes or less. Ms. Leo?
What happens if there's more people than the BRC can contain, if it's safely?
Then we'll have to ask people who speak to leave and invite the others in.
That's not allowing everyone to hear the same.
You're absolutely right. This is not a perfect world, and I apologize for it, but that's the decision of this board.
Do it outside,
Yeah, we can always do this.
Do it
We can do
outside.
Depending on the weather, yeah.
if you have to.
I speak really loud.
You just got those new fancy lights that you can use, you can move.
There you
light
go.
up the
I'll try to
bulbs.
get my Jeep and show up and I'll light up the whole parking lot.
We'll illuminate the parking lot if
Okay, we're
necessary.
gonna see Sharon, yeah.
Okay.
And we'll play it to music too if you want. I can do
Chief.
disco balls too with that thing.
I'll have officers there.
Okay, thank you. Are you here? Is there any topics we need to hear from you?
Yes,
Okay,
Does-
public or non-public?
non-public,
Okay.
it's salary.
Can I
Yes.
try
Can
this?
I ask a question? When are the checks gonna be issued for the 4 months or whatever it is?
Karen will take care of that tomorrow.
Right, so it'll get approved in the next week's Selectmen's Manifest, so it'll be ready next Wednesday.
If you need money desperately, we can always do an emergency one, and we'll get 3 signatures here. Robin, it's your turn.
10,200, please.
Okay. Any other thing for the public?
Yes.
Okay. Go.
So over the last several years, we've been saving money in the capital reserve fund for software. BMSI, which is our current vendor, has recently released a lot of web-based upgrades to the current applications that we're using now. So we can convert payroll, our web ledger, our tax, and add positive pay, which will be required with the new bank. And we can upgrade, they'll convert all of our data from our old system into the new web-based system. It increases some of our functionality, it makes things a little bit easier, the reporting's easier, it exports things into Excel files.
Is everything encrypted?
Yep, and they'll host it all in their cloud. So there's a one-time fee to convert all of the applications over, $5,370. This is the third page in your, or the last page in your agenda packet, if you wanted to follow the numbers. And then we pay it, right now we pay an annual support cost, which covers all of our support time, calling in at BMSI for whatever needs and troubleshooting we may have. Currently, we pay $8,132, and with these new services, it would increase the fee to $8,754. So less what we already have in the budget. We're about 600, there's a budget deficit of $791 if we increase the services. So what I would request is $6,161.30 out of the capital reserve fund for software. So that'll cover all of our conversion costs. It'll cover the increase in the support fee for the 1 year.
Can I just, this is a learning, I'm not opposed to anything, it's just a learning opportunity for myself. Is a $590 annual increase, but our budget deficit for conversion is $790?
So this, because that includes the positive pay, so the increase from last year to this year is about $590. And then because only $7,525 was in the 2021 budget, that's how we get to the $790.
Okay.
So the difference is it's $165 extra for positive pay, which we didn't pay, we didn't use before.
Understood, thank you.
Since that's a new feature, can we utilize impact fees? to
No.
do that, or not?
She wants to take it from the,
But I'm just
Capital reserve
wondering, since we're already overdrawing on that,
You could use the impact fees for the, well,
because it's a new,
we're upgrading the software, so I would use the capital reserve fund for this.
I think
just
that would
because
be the
it's not
appropriate way to do
web-
it.
It's all web-based. And it's
usually we
software
can use
that
the
we-
impact dollars for
New
new stuff that
stuff.
we didn't have.
But
So
these
it's
are
a
all
new-
applications that we currently have today, so you can't, we're not adding something as a result of growth.
And what you have today is not cloud-based, and this
Correct.
is?
It is like archaic and everything has
Wow.
child windows. So when you have your 20-inch monitor and your window only opens this big and you can't expand it ever.
Okay.
so we need a motion.
Motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Andy?
Good.
Okay,
I was gonna say, all I see is a picture, Andy.
we're gonna do a roll call vote. Bob?
Aye,
Andy?
now there he is.
Aye.
Jonathan?
Aye.
John?
Aye.
I'm an aye. Motion passes.
Thank you. And we'll be shooting for a July 15th target date for conversion because we don't want to interfere with first issue tax bills.
Okay,
We get to come into the current century.
Ken, let me and Eric trying to have questions when you're open to the public.
okay. Okay, we have one hand raised here. We'll take that.
Where do I?
So,
see the question?
my concern is if the non-public is for the pay for the police again and the pay matrix, that's been already decided twice. The new pay matrix is supposed to go into effect in 2 days, and I think it's totally inappropriate to bring it up in non-public and to bring it up again. Jonathan and John haven't been here through all this discussion. Andy, as the chair, went through it twice with the select board, and it's totally inappropriate to bring it up again, and it's not a non-public discussion.
Liz, every time there's a change in the board, there's a change in the thinking and the thought process. I don't know what we're gonna talk about just yet, but it is a new board and we will treat it as a new board issue.
But correct, but they don't
No,
have to.
You have my answer, thank you. Andy?
How do I look at those chats, Andy?
They're in the,
It wasn't a chat, they just had their hands raised.
Oh, I don't know how to see the.
Oh, it's,
I
hey
don't know how
Letty,
to read
she's
it.
here.
Oh, Letty's here.
alright.
Were you one of the, ones that had your hand raised?
Yeah.
Okay,
Hi, Letty. I don't know how you did it, but I'll applaud you for it.
okay, you're on, go.
Yeah, so I just wanted clarification about.
Good night, Mr. Johnson.
I wasn't leaving, I'm just using the facilities.
Okay,
Little boys' room.
have a wonderful
The meeting
night.
that's gonna be on the
Bedard, I'm
20th,
not sure what her.
who is
address
allowed
is.
to attend that meeting and who is allowed to speak at that?
The citizens of the town of Brentwood.
And those are the only persons allowed to attend or speak?
If we have a non-resident, we will ask everybody present to allow this person to speak or not to allow that person.
Kind of like it is at town meeting?
That's correct.
Okay. Okay, just
It won't be a town
clarification.
meeting, but we will follow the
I just wanted
decorum.
clarification so that there was no
Okay.
confusion next time.
Rebecca,
Now what do I have to
Will
do?
press be allowed at this meeting?
it's a public meeting, anybody can come.
Yeah, you're gonna have to help me out because I don't know what the heck I'm
Concerned
doing.
about giving a
He
service.
said
Well,
some people raise their hands.
I think we just had a mini circus this evening.
I know, yeah.
Okay,
No, something's wrong.
You would just have to unmute Eric.
okay, for those people on,
Eric, you're unmuted. I didn't do it. He's on.
You okay? Can you hear me?
Oh,
yeah, 1 second.
yeah, okay.
Okay, Eric.
to you.
So, yeah, sorry, my connection dropped and I was in the waiting room, so I wasn't quite sure what the decision. There was a vote, in my understanding, to bring the meeting on the 20th to the rec center.
That's correct, at 6 PM.
Can I suggest, and again, if it's already been voted, I understand, but I'm just suggesting, that you perhaps make it an event that people can register for or sign up to their interest in attending, so that you can gauge whether or not the rec is gonna be sufficient for that, because I think it will only serve to heighten, I'll call it tension around this topic if people are not allowed or able to enter that meeting, and it's still, we're still in a pandemic.
Okay,
This month, we're still under a mask mandate for distance, so I would just respectfully ask that you make the option available to do it in a different location if the size of the interested group.
Well, I think we'll still have Zoom going too, so.
we also have decided that we have sufficient lighting to illuminate the parking area, and I believe we will have sufficient space for all that wish to attend and speak to have an opportunity to do so. But thank you for your input.
Okay, as long as there's a commitment to make those resources available and to consider rescheduling if you're not able to accommodate. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Bill?
I understand and respect what you said about a new board and new issues that can come out before a new board. However, I don't understand how, if things were decided by the budget committee in the town, in terms of a police budget, for example, 2 of your new board members have never even seen the pay matrix, so they have no idea what we're talking about. And I think if that's gonna come up as a conversation in non-public, they should certainly have the opportunity to have looked at the new pay matrix, to see where it came from, to get some history on that. And I don't understand how you can then say, because it's a new board, that you can change what was agreed to and what was voted on and what was appropriated, if you will, at the town meeting. Similar to what you said about the Brentwood newsletter, this money was appropriated. I disagree with how you did it, but I think the money should have been given to the newsletter since it was appropriated at town meeting and agreed to. I feel very strongly about the same thing with the police department. The budget was agreed to, the budget was approved, the money was appropriated. And I don't understand how it could be a non-public issue when half your board doesn't even know what we're talking about.
40% of the board.
Okay, 40%, sorry.
Once again, let me reiterate, it is a new board. Whatever is discussed will be explained to its entirety. We will not short-circuit the system. When we talk about appropriations, we will not increase the budget that has been voted on and approved by the legislative citizens of our community. No, Bill, I gave you an answer.
I understand, but I have a follow-up question. Unless specific individuals are gonna be talked about in non-public in terms of salary, isn't that a public issue?
No, we are gonna be speaking to whatever the chief and the other chief, we're talking about hiring and we're talking about personnel action.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other people with their hands raised?
Not that I can see. Andy, am I missing anything?
Nope. Okay, we're gonna close, Trudy.
Trudy again, Rebecca Dunn of Brentwood Block Drive. The meeting that's going to be held, we think on the 20th of April, technically at the rec center. The purpose will be to allow folks to speak their piece, their feeling about the newsletter.
For 3 minutes.
For 3 minutes, and what will be the hoped-for achievement in this? Will it be to fund the newsletter, to not fund the newsletter? What is the goal of this meeting, other than to let people speak? What will be the action taken after people express
We
their
will
opinion?
take the information we receive, and then we will meet the following week, and we will discuss further action.
Which would be on May 4th.
May 4th,
Okay, so it's just, the purpose is just funding.
just to hear everybody.
Funding,
Funding,
Let everyone have a voice.
right.
funding,
Yeah. What'd you say?
funding.
Funding, you got it. Okay, thank you all for coming, we appreciate it. We are now gonna go into non-public.
I'm gonna make a motion to go into non-public.
Mr. Johnson, we're closing the meeting to the public.
We're going into non-public in accordance with chapter 91A, 311, A, B, C, D, E, and I.
Second.
The personnel and hiring.
Oh, wait.
Andy, I'm gonna leave you on, right?
Okay.
How do I turn everyone off?
No.
We have to vote?
We will.
You can shut that off completely, Bob, and then we'll call Andy.
Oh, all right, we're gonna call you.
There's no
We're gonna turn
interference.
everything
Oh,
off.
wait, before you do that,
Okay.
do we have a second?
Second.
No, you make the motion. Did you make the second? Okay,
Yes?
all right, we're gonna have a roll call vote. Bob? Andy? Aye. Jonathan?
Aye.
John?
Aye.
I'm a aye.
All right, now.
Thank you.
How you
It's
doing?
okay, don't worry, it's
All right,
okay.
I am shutting mics off now.
Yes, the mics go off.
Do I just,
I've been through worse.
how do I end
Trying to
this?
keep it together.
I don't know how to shut that off. I'm terrible with equipment.
Bob will do it.
Good.